See how Jason, he teaches for a living. He has those kind eyes that look inside a person's heart, and ever since he was a kid he's always been giving. He makes those algebraic formulas that sit on the page make sense. The numbers and letters jumbled together can seem dense for a first timer, but how Jason takes the kids off the fence and gives those equations some substance. See, that's how Jason, and we love him for it. He's always thinking of those who can go before him. Even when he was young and frustration took course, he knew his great flaw was nailing his shoes to the floor and stubbornly sitting on his opinion as the matter of law, so he changed his ways as he grew into a man. He was great like that as a teenager. His main asset was empathy, the willingness to understand, saw his faults at an early age, recognised that they could cage his taste, and accordingly changed his pace to something others didn't hate. See, that's how Jason cool as you like. Sometimes he's so casual he could fall on his side, and though he hasn't found the love of his life, any girl would be lucky to stand next to him as his wife. His calm, caring presence would be the defining essence of any relationship he'd have. A pleasure to be around, the anchor keeping their feet firmly on the ground, and whatever would be thrown their way, they'd take together and own it on their day, because our Jason, he sees a sense of living in the present. Patience and kindness define the man he's become, a teacher, friend, a brother, and a son. But really, our Jason ain't our Jason because he sits adjacent to the real Jason who's been taken by all our expectations. And Jason would like to be Jason, but he's man in the station of the creation of his own doing. So our Jason sits in patience because one day he'll find his emancipation. Despite being 38, he believes in fate and that he'll stumble upon his true state, but that will take time. Time, he has it still. The second hand might fall and rise, but there's still some belief behind those tired, frustrated eyes that look to the sky and silently resent the fact that he's so shy. The kids may well miss him when he takes to the main stage of his life, but they'll understand he's done the tense and this is his time to headline. And he says they'll miss him. That's a lie, they'll be fine. He doesn't really do anything out of the ordinary. He might seem like fun from time to time because he's not really the second star to the right that shines. It's more that he's right of the right. He makes up the constellations. He's more just a part of the sky. That's fine though, because you still need stars that form the belts and make the shapes. He's not Neverland. He's not the one who inspires the mavericks of this world, but he is necessary to the operation for all that he can tell. And anyway, teaching, that was never his mainstay. It was more just his day-to-day before he finds a way to get the job he loves. And hopefully when the dream scenario finally falls, he can chuck them all a told you so into touch. Kick off the celebrations that he's been rehearsing in his head, watch mouths fall aghast as colleagues' jaws fall with the weight of lead, and when Jason said all that needs to be said, he could become the fairy tale, the Neverland. Future dreamers will use him to take their stand against the boredom of the beige and the bland, but that ain't our Jason. Our Jason will always dream but never act, because if he puts himself out there, he might not like what he gets back. What happens if he wastes his life poor and miserable because he thought he could do it? It would be awful if he had to come back to teaching and explain how he didn't crack it. So our Jason will analyse the information put in front of him, and like those equations, he'll decipher the details that are intrinsic to the overall story. And when he can finally come up with his sum, he'll sit on the fence asking how and why he's still not one. See, that is our Jason.